Hey, what's up, guys? Shuckle King here, bringing you week 2 for EWT versus Vepsis. As it's going to be a close matchup, I know it's going to be. We've probably won about half the games we played against each other. We've gone back for a couple of years, and Vepsis is such a great opponent, so it's going to be a great battle, and make sure you watch his Teambuilder and battle post. It's going to be pretty good. Before we keep going, make sure you guys like the video if you enjoyed the content, and show some love with the subscription button. I would greatly appreciate it. So Vepsis' team, from what I feel like is probably more likely to least likely to come, is Hydreigon, Mega Blastoise, Mamoswine, Bronzong, Nidoqueen, Zeraora, Victini, Granbull, Virizion, Skuntank, and Kangaskhan. So Hydreigon is 100% coming in. It's 100% going to be Scarfed, just because Scarf Dark Pulse really wrecked through my team. Now I have a Dancing Hariyama to combat those moves, but he can run Flash Cannon for the Deanty. He can run, obviously, Draco Meteor will hurt the Hariyama. Though if I'm AV, I could probably take 2 hits. And he can even run Fire Blast for the Ferrothorn, though Dark Pulse is going to do decent damage anyway. So Hydreigon's a big threat. Mega Blastoise, I don't have the greatest water answer because it has Dark Pulse and Ice Beam to really hit my Mega Latios. He could even be Aura Sphere's going to hit Ferrothorn hard. Hidden Power Fire probably does about the same damage. Manaphy can take hits pretty well if I'm more bulky, but I don't know if I necessarily want to this game. So we'll see there. Mamoswine, just very tough to switch into in general. I have Ferrothorn that can kind of do it, but other than that, it's going to be tough. And a physically defensive Mew, I guess. But I also would want speed to add speed to Mamoswine, so I won't be that bulky in exchange. And Knockoff is going to do a lot for the Mamoswine. If he's not choice locked, he'll probably be a Life Orb set. Bronzong, Darmanitan, the only way I can 1-hit KO it, so I'd imagine he's probably going to bring that. It's also a really good answer for Mega Latios, who otherwise does really, really well against his team. And I guess besides Ice Shard, Mammoth to Revenge Kill Mega Latios. So Bronzong, I think, is almost a must-bring. Nidoqueen could come. I have 2 Psychics, so it's not as likely, I would say, but still a decent breaker. And I have Dugtrio to trap it. So actually, maybe Nidoqueen's not that likely. Zeraora, I have Dugtrio to revenge it. Mega Latios also does pretty well against it. Ferrothorn, unless he has Fire Punch, does well against it. Deanty takes it on, no problems. Mainly Dugtrio can trap the Zeraora. Victini is a tough bring. I mean, he could still bring it, and it'll probably do work, but Mega Latios and Dugtrio just handle it so well that I could see him not bringing Victini, even though it's probably his best mon on his team. Granbull, he likes to bring, unless if it's AV, it's probably not going to be that big of a threat. Virizion, I have 2 Psychic types, so I would doubt he brings it. And I have Darmanitan and Drapion, and then Skuntank Kang I'm not worried about. So how I'm going to try to win this game, I feel like Manaphy, again, does really well. Maybe I'm sure I overhype Manaphy. I know I do, but that's okay. I feel like it can win this game again, like I thought week 1. His only answers to it are Zeraora, Virizion, and a Scarf Hydreigon, and I guess an electric move from a Victini. So the first mon I'm going to bring is the Manaphy as you see here. So Tail Glow, Surf, Dazzling Gleam, Energy Bulb. So I figured it's more likely that the Zeraora is going to come than the Virizion, and plus if I bring Wakanberry, I can take on Zeraora's hit, and he's probably not going to be a boosting item. He's probably going to be something to deal with the Dugtrio, either Shed Shell or Shuckaberry. I would doubt he's going to be any offensive boosting item, so an electric move's not going to do that much to Manaphy anyway. But Wakanberry is also nice, so that way Choice Scarf Victini or Choice Bandit or Choice Specs, any of those sets really, that either carry Thunder or Bolt Strike, won't be doing as much damage to Manaphy, and I could revenge with Surf. Dazzling Gleam OHKOs the Hydreigon even without a boost, but again, I would probably imagine be Choice Scarf, so I don't know how much of a difference that makes, but if he stays in and tries to Dark Pulse, I can kill a Dazzling Gleam. If he thinks he can live an Ice Beam, an Energy Ball only hits the Blastoise, but these 3 moves hit everything on his team at least neutrally, so that's really good information to know, and hopefully I can form a team that allows Manaphy to have a late game sweep opportunity at the end. So stuff that can handle Zeraora, Virizion, and Scarf Hydreigon. So Next Pokemon I have here, I feel like it's a really good wall breaker in this matchup. It's Megaladios. Now, he does have the Bronzong to handle Megaladios to an extent, but I do have Shadow Ball, which will do about 40%, which is definitely good enough chip. And I have Recover, so if he doesn't have Toxic, well, he'll have Toxic, who am I kidding? But I'll be able to actually probably beat the Bronzong, even though I would probably be low HP with this Megaladios. Draco Meteor, Psychic hit his team really hard otherwise. Psychic does more damage to the Gramble. If he's AV, probably takes 2 hits. Otherwise, he shouldn't be able to. So I have to watch out for that. Skunk Tank, not going to be an issue because Draco Meteor is going to bop it. Unless he's like AV, and then he's not going to be doing that much damage with whatever dark move. So I do need something for Scarf-type Dragon. And also Mamoswine could be pretty problematic. And now Manaphy's fast, so it can kill Mamoswine. But I don't really want to switch into it that well. So I do have Hariyama right here with Close Combat, Knock Off, Heavy Slam, EQ, and I'm physically defensive instead of like the normal Smogon set, which would be like an Assault Vest set. I'm more physically defensive to take on Mamoswine because I do have Thick Fat. I also, so I resist the ice moves. Earthquake from Adamant, Life Form Mamoswine, I believe, was the set. After Rocks, I will be able to take 2 hits with the Eye Papa Berry and then kill and return with Close Combat. So that's why I have the defensive investment there. And the speed is for outspeeding speed invested Gramble. So that way I can ensure I can get 2 heavy slants off and I'll kill if he's max HP Assault Vest or if he's like max HP max attack. If he's max HP max defense, I won't be able to 2-hit KO, but otherwise I'll be getting good chip off. Thick Fat is also nice to take Choice Band or Choice Scarf, V-Create or Fire moves from the Victini. Obviously I don't take Psychic moves, but I do have a lot more Psychic answers on the team, so I think you would be going more for a Fire move in general versus my team. Or an Electric move. So the next Pokemon I have, well, I guess the downside of Hariyama, before I keep going on, I don't have Assault Vest, so I won't be able to take special hits as well from like a Draco Meteor from a Hydreigon or moves from, say, Mega Blastoise or Nidoqueen, but I'm also going to try to bluff than I am Assault Vest just because he won't see an item, so they might not be inclined to go for those hitting moves that'll probably kill, but he wouldn't expect it to kill type of deal. Mew, we won't talk about Mew yet, so the next Pokemon, I do want something to beat Zeraora. I mean, Megaladios can handle it to an extent, but I would want something to add speed and kill it so I don't take damage. And the obvious Pokemon on my team is Dugtrio. And it's a pretty interesting spread that I have right here. So Zeraora's probably going to be Shucka Berry to take a hit and revenge kill me in return with whatever move he goes for. So I have a lot of bulk investment on this Scarf Dugtrio. It'll allow me to live any non-Life Orb boosted hit, or maybe even Expert Belt. But again, I expect that he's not going to be boosting item. I expect he's going to be a Shucka Berry or like a Choice Scarf set. Would also kind of make sense if he doesn't have Volt Switch, because he can revenge kill a Choice Scarf Dugtrio, but I can live any Choice Scarf like Close Combat, even after Rocks with this Dugtrio set. And Earthquake should kill in return. If he's Shucka Berry, then he won't be able to kill me in any one hit, and then Earthquake will 2-hit KO. So the Dugtrio should be able to handle the Zeraora, which will free up my Manaphy to hopefully sweep at the end of the game. Aerial Ace, it murks the Virizion, but doesn't do much else otherwise. Reversal, if I get low HP, then Reversal does a lot of damage to, say, like the Hydreigon that I can't touch that well otherwise. And Final Gamut, very off chance if I need to get a big hit off like that, then I have an answer there. And also does damage to the Bronzong if it comes to that situation. So the next Pokemon, again, skipping over to Mew. So I want another like Blastoise switch-in, because I really don't have a switch-in. I do have Hariyama, which would deter him, and I have Manaphy, but Manaphy doesn't really want to be taking many hits. So I'm going to be going with the Ferrothorn. So it's max HP, max defense. So if he like clicks 2 Aura Spears, he'll kill me. But if he goes for like a Scald plus an Aura Sphere, he won't be able to kill me, and I'll be able to get a big hit off a Power Whip in return, which will be good enough damage for me to revenge kill with Dugtrio or Latios or Manaphy. Stealth Rocks to get a chip damage, obviously, on the Victini. Leech Seed to recover HP because I don't think he's going to bring Virizion, so Leech Seed is also a fairly safe move. And Thunder Wave in case he does want to try to bring the Hydreigon and kill me with a fire move, or bring the Victini and kill me with a fire move. So I set up rocks, I can really neuter them and they won't be that effective. And power up obviously to do some damage. So the last Pokemon I have, I feel like Bronzong is problematic for my Mega Latios. Now I do have Shadow Bulb to get around it, but I want ways to not allow my Mega Latios to get walled, because the combination of Dracometer plus Psychic does really well outside of the Bronzong. So I also want another win condition. I feel like this set with Mew could win the game. So I am Block, Bulk Up, Rest, Drain Punch, Max HP, Max Speed with leftovers. I also debated like Big Root or I forget the name of the berry that gives you +1 special defense if you're at the Pinch Berry, but they were a little bit less reliable than leftovers was. So I feel like he's going to bring Bronzong and lead with it and go for Stealth Rocks. So I'm going to lead with this Mew and turn 1 go for Block. And then unless he has Explosion, he can't do anything about me setting up Bulk Ups and Rests, on especially if he's probably a physical attacking set with Gyro Ball and Toxic. He's not going to be able to do anything to me. If I'm at +6, Drain Punch is probably a 2-hit KO or close to a 2-hit KO, which is still really weak. It's only a base 100 move coming off it's only a 100 base attack coming off a 75 power attack. So it's not going to be doing a ton of damage, and it's also not stab or super effective on the Bronzong, but eventually I could beat it. So it might be a boring early onto this battle, but if I beat the Bronzong, then the only ways he can really beat this Mew set, because he doesn't have an immunity, is a Roar Granbull, because Granbull doesn't take much from Drain Punch, but I should be able to beat it 1v1. Scarf Hydreigon, and he flinches me, or if he just does a lot of damage with like Victini plus Nidoqueen, if they're especially offensive. So otherwise, I feel like I win the game with this Mew. So it might not work, it might work, but it'll be a cool set to try out, and hopefully it'll work. Shoutouts to John W. for having this set for DPL. So that's my team. Let's get right into the battle. Alright, here we are for the battle against Vepsis. And as we can see here, he brings the Mega Blastoise, Virizion, Granbull, Bronzong, Zeraora, and Hydreigon. So at the team previewed, I knew Mew, if he leads with Bronzong, is going to do really well. His ways to revenge kill my Mew are Scarf Hydreigon with Dark Pulse, and I guess a Granbull with Roar. Otherwise, Mew can basically win this game. So hopefully I'm going to do that turn 1. Latios also looks pretty good to fire off moves. I have to watch out for Bronzong, Scarf Hydreigon, and he could be AV Granbull, but if he's AV Granbull, then obviously Mew goes in even harder. Manaphy can win this game, but it's going to be more difficult because of Virizion there as well as the Zeraora. So it's probably going to be more of a breaker. Like, I have a Wakandberry for Zeraora, but I don't really have much to take on a Virizion hit. Even though Virizion's fairly weak, it'll still do a lot of damage to where a Zeraora hit will be able to revenge kill me. He has no Victini or Mamoswine, which I am definitely cool with. So again, turn 1, I'm going to lead with Mew, and hopefully he leads with Stealth Rock Bronzong, and then I basically win the game. And the Demolisher is not the Bronzong, is the Mega Blastoise. And that's actually a great lead for him, because I really don't have a great switch in. He doesn't, like, I don't want to go into my Hariyama because he's not actually AV, so I can't bluff that he can't take hits. So I have to go into Ferrothorn, hope he goes for a Water or Dark move, live the hit, and then Power Whip and get off a lot of damage on the Blastoise. I will be sacking off my Ferrothorn at this point, but getting the damage off will just make my Manaphy potential sweep endgame, Mew potential sweep like mid-game a lot easier if I don't have to deal with this Blastoise. So he does go for the Water Pulse, doesn't do much. He gets the Confusion, which is unfortunate, but not that big of a deal unless we get to Confusion. But as long as he's not Scald and gets a burn, I'm definitely okay with that exchange. So I am going to go for the Power Up. He is going to switch out. So I'm okay with getting any damage off on this Virizion, so I can scat out what type of set it is. But I get confused, which is unfortunate, so I don't get a little bit of chip on this Virizion, but it's fine. He won't be able to kill me in one hit with close combat, so I'm going to go for the Thunder Wave here. And hopefully he's not either Lumberry or... what was I going to say? Or if he's like a Choice Bandit set, it would kill my Ferrothorn. So he goes for the Sword Stance, and at this point, I figured he's I'll pause it here. I figured he's Pyapa Berry. There's no reason for him to go for the sword stance this early on in the game with how much it's going on. So he has to have some type of way to kill my Mew and my Latios. And I know he has X-Scissor, so it's probably sword stance, X-Scissor, close combat, and then Leaf Blade to hit the Manaphy. So I'm in a tough position here, and I like it could be a different set than that, but I know he's gonna have close combat and X-Scissor to handle the psychic types because he wouldn't go for sword stance otherwise. So I'm in a tough spot here. I basically have to figure out what I'm going to sack. I could sack my Ferrothorn right here to allow me to get a free switch into, say, Doug Trio and Revenge Kill it, but instead, I'm going to go into my Mega Latios, predicting he's going to go for a close combat here, and then with that defense drop, I should be able to kill with a Psyshock even after the Pyapa Berry, but he wouldn't know that I don't have Psyshock, so I feel like he would be threatened to switch at that point. So I am going to go into my Latios here, and he's going to go for the X-Scissor and completely nuke my Latios. So that is unfortunate. My Mega Latios goes down, and more importantly, I don't have anything on my team that can 1-hit KO this Virizion. So that's pretty unfortunate. I have to go into Doug Trio. An Aerial Ace will put it in range so Manaphy can Revenge Kill. So unfortunately, I have to lose my Doug Trio like this, but I have to do what I have to do to get damage off. But fortunately, he gets paralyzed. So I do save my Doug Trio for another day, fortunately. I guess you could say it makes up for the confusion on the Ferrothorn, but not really. But regardless, I still killed a Virizion here, which is great. A little bit behind because the Mega Latios still did really well, but Mew and Manaphy could still win this game. So I can't do anything to Hydreigon at this point. I'm going to be going into my Hariyama, can take any hit. I don't think he's going to go for Draco this early on because I still do have the Pharaoh. They're pretty high health. And he does U-turn out, which is fine. I don't suspect that he would calc this and think that it's physically defensive based on that damage, but maybe he would. But regardless, he's going to go in the Grand Ball, which is a pretty safe switch in for him. And it's also pretty safe for him to go for the Fire Punch, predicting me to not want my Hariyama to take too much damage from a Play Rough. So I am going to go for the Heavy Slam and hopefully 2-hit KO. But based on that damage, I know he's max HP and max defensive, and he goes for the Fire Punch. So I get that prediction right, but I'm in range to where I will die to a Play Rough plus Rocky Helmet damage, and I want my Pyapa Berry still active to take on the Hydreigon or the Blastoise. And he predicts that again and still goes for the Fire Punch. So very adamant play there, and he does get a burn. So unfortunate for my Ferrothorn. It has a lot less usefulness now because I won't be recovering HP, and I won't be doing nearly as much damage with Power Whip. So that's pretty unfortunate, but I'm not going to sack on my Ferrothorn just yet. I'm going to go back into my Hariyama, predicting him to go for another Fire Punch to just kill my Ferrothorn off, and he does go for the Fire Punch, which is great. I'm still at enough HP to where he doesn't want to really let Mega Blastoise come in and Revenge Kill because he could assume I'm Assault Vest. So he goes into the Bronzong, and I go for a Heavy Slam, not doing much. Again, I do want to kill that Gramble, and at this point, I'm going to try to bring in a Mew and try to set up on this Bronzong because I feel like I could still win the game really well with my Mew set. So hopefully I can trap the Bronzong as he goes for a Stealth Rocks. He might not stay in, but I would imagine he would stay in to get the Toxic off. But he is actually going to pull a double switch. He's going to go into Gramble. So he was trying to actually get more Rocky Helmet damage off on my on my Hariyama, so that way the Mega Blastoise could Revenge Kill with a Water Pulse. So that's definitely a fine play. I don't really want to stay in on this Hariyama because he could have Roar, and that'll just ruin the surprise of Bulk Up. So I'm going to go in my Ferrothorn as it's useless at this point. He goes for a Thunder Wave. So now I know he's Play Rough. He's got to be Play Rough. Drain Punch and Thunder Wave, so Roar could be the last move on that set, and that makes a lot of sense. Again, sacking off my Ferrothorn because he can't do much with it being burned and not recovering much HP. I do get some chip damage off, which is great, and I can bring in my Hariyama, but I'm still, and maybe kill with an Earthquake, but that still seems pretty risky, and I think Heavy Slam is still the safest play for me to go for at this point. I don't want to close combat. I think it could have killed at this range, but I don't want the defense drop. And I'm probably not in range at this point to a Mega Blastoise head, even if I was at Zolfest, but I think he's still kind of scared that I could be taking a hit, and he doesn't want Blastoise to take damage because he has to take a Manaphy hit and maybe roar me out. So I could have gone into Mew here and maybe set up on this Bronzong, but instead I just go for the knockoff and try to 2-hit KO this set. As he does go for the Flash Cannon, doesn't do that much to me, even with no special defense investment, and I do 2-hit KO this Bronzong, which is great. In hindsight, I probably should have gone into Mew and tried to set up on it, but I'm okay with getting the kills as much as possible. But he did not need the Bronzong that much at this point in the game. But he did need a switch into the Blastoise because he knows that I'm not a Assault Vest after I took the berry. So he will be able to kill me with a Water Pulse. And it was not a roll at this point in the game. Or not a roll from that damage. So the crit didn't make a difference there. I go into Manaphy and I had to set up a Tail Glow. I'm pretty far behind, and I don't know if Mew can win at this point. So I'm going to go for the Tail Glow, and he brings in the Zeraora. So I can go right into the Dugtrio because I'm assuming he's going to go for an electric move, and I don't necessarily need to pop my Wakanberry or take the damage yet. I can still take like a normal Draco and kill with Dazzling Gleam on the Hydreigon. So he does go for the Volt Switch, which is great. Even if he Shuck a Berry, I should be able to 2-hit KO this Zeraora, but he's actually Sedge Shell. So that's pretty cool tech on his part, and I definitely figured it could have been something that he brought. I do go through the Earthquake, though, killing the Zeraora, and I'm in a tough spot. I have the Mew, the Manaphy, and this Dugtrio. So I feel like going for the Earthquake here means I'm sacking off the Dugtrio, which is fair. Mew still has a chance to win this game. It's pretty tough just because Hydreigon does like 70% with a Dark Pulse. But if I can get Bulk Up somehow, then like on the Zeraora, if I can get up a Bulk Up, then I could do somewhat decent damage to his team. Dugtrio can't really do that much because I have Earthquake. I can't touch this. I'm locked in Earthquake. I can't touch this Hydreigon right now. Aerial Ace won't do anything to it, and Final Gambit is not worth it, and I can't go for it because I'm locked in Earthquake. So I do stay in with Dugtrio here. The primary reason is to hopefully get like to a really low HP amount but still live, so that way I have Reversal, like a very strong Reversal that could kill this Hydreigon, and then I would be in pretty decent shape with the combination of Reversal, Dugtrio plus Manaphy. I feel like I could win this game at this point. So I'm going to stay in with my Dugtrio, and hopefully he brings me down really low with this Dark Pulse, so that way my Reversal is going to be stronger, but he actually gets a pretty low roll there. I'm like at 25%, so I won't be getting that strong of a Reversal, so I'm going to just sack off my Dugtrio at this point. Unfortunate, and it's going to be tough for me to win this game, but I feel like I still have ways. So I'm going to go into Manaphy, and I'm going to set up a Tail Glow. His Dark Pulse is only going to do like 40%, and I can kill the Zeraora if he decides to stay in on this following play. So he switches into Zeraora as I go for a Tail Glow. He's going to Volt Switch, which is okay, but I'm going to just go for the Surf. If he like goes for like a Thunderbolt or something, then I will be able to kill the Zeraora, and I feel like I have somewhat of a chance to win this game. If he goes into the Hydreigon and doesn't kill me with any move, then I can then I can kill with Manaphy and win. Or if he does kill me with like a Draco Meteor, then Mew can set up Drain Punches or Bulk Ups and might be able to win with Drain Punch. So as you see here, I do go for a +3 Surf on this Mega Blastoise, and I don't do that much to it. And at this point, I have to go for the Energy Ball to kill this Mega Blastoise because I don't want to like over-predict and go for a Surf or Dazzling Gleam and not kill this Blastoise, and then he gets a big hit off, and Hydreigon can just Dark Pulse and win the game. He did less than a third damage with his Volt Switch on his Zeraora, so if he doesn't have another electric move, it's a roll for him to kill with the following Volt Switch, and then I'd be in really great shape. So I have to go for the kill on this Blastoise, unless he has like an electric move on the Zeraora, then it might not matter. So he actually switches out and goes into Hydreigon. If I go for Dazzling Gleam there, I won't kill the Blastoise, so it's not a bad play, but I feel like I could have won the game outright right here if I did go for the Dazzling Gleam. So I thought it was just a just unnecessary over prediction, or like an over aggressive play there, but it worked out for Vepsis. He was pretty aggressive this game in general. But he does U-turn out, and he knew he wouldn't be able to kill me with any one hit. Or if he did kill me with Dracometer, and if I was like a setup Mew, then I could have set up on the -2 Hydreigon, so he couldn't allow that to happen. So I do Surf, and then Dazzling Gleam in the off chance that he wants to sack his Hydreigon off, which isn't going to happen. So I kill with my Manaphy on the Blastoise. He brings in a Zeraora, and he could easily kill me with Volt Switch and then win the game with Hydreigon Dark Pulse. But he goes to the Discharge, so he did have another electric move to hit my Manaphy anyway. I don't think it would have been a roll with the Discharge, but he doesn't Volt Switch out and go into Hydreigon because I could be a weakness policy Mew set, so I'm sure he's worried about that if he goes for a Dark Pulse and he doesn't kill and I get a Rock Polish off, that I could probably win the game at this point if I'm physical with like Drain Punch plus Earthquake. So I have to go into Mew to last mon. He taunts me as if I try to bulk up. So it's pretty unfortunate, and I won't be able to win this game at this point. He could just continuously taunt, and my Drain Punch, as you can see from this damage in a couple of seconds, is going to do absolutely nothing. It is only a base 75 damage move with no attack investment from this Mew, but it's not looking good. So I can just hope to maybe get a couple of crits. Maybe he'll switch out into his Hydreigon. Or maybe he won't taunt me in the end. He does have Discharge, so fortunately here he does not get the para, and I am going to Drain Punch and recover a little bit of HP. It's going to go back and forth like this for a couple turns. It changes a little bit in the end here. Just continually getting off damage. I just have to hope that he doesn't taunt, and I go for a bulk up at some point, but I know he's going to taunt after the taunt expires, so it's a little bit futile there. He goes through the Discharge and gets a para, which is bound to happen eventually. Just unfortunate there. If I don't get a para, then that'd be great, and I don't. So recovering a little bit of HP. I'm breaking down this Zeraora a little bit, but not a ton. He only knows my moves are Drain Punch and Bulk Up, so he doesn't know what my last two moves are. So I'm going to go for the rest here, because he didn't go for the taunt. And if I go for the rest, then he wouldn't necessarily know if Sleep Talk for my last move. And at that point, he can't switch into Hydreigon necessarily. He could taunt initially because he did show to taunt. And then at that point, I would be covering a little bit of HP of leftovers. And I guess maybe somehow I could get like a Drain Punch off on the Hydreigon. No, I definitely would be able to. So I would rest. I would have rested here as he just went for whatever move would have gone up to full. I think we'd have to taunt with the Zeraora here. So that would be one turn of Sleep Burn. Then he would switch into Hydreigon for the second turn as I still stay asleep, and then he would Dark Pulse. And if I crit with a Drain Punch there, then I probably win the game. So it was unfortunate that that para happened. Again, it gave me a chance to win if I got the rest off, but I did not get the rest off, and there was just a little bit unfortunate luck this game. But Vepsis definitely did really well, and I really sacked off my Latios early on in the game. I definitely shouldn't have done that. I'll let the rest of the game play out here, but yeah, I should have just let the Ferrothorn go down earlier on the Virizion and let him kill me with close combat. Now, I found out that his Virizion was no Leaf Blade. He was X-Scissor, Close Combat, and Synthesis. But even if he was Synthesis, he would still have to hit me with Iron Barbs damage. And at that point, I could Revenge Kill with the Doug Trio because I knew he was Pyapa Berry. So my Airleus would have Revenge Killed and killed the Virizion. Now, losing the Ferrothorn to the Virizion would have meant I didn't have as great of an answer to Mega Blastoise, and I guess not as great of an answer to the Granbull to an extent, but I would have just played more aggressive against the Granbull, and honestly, it might have gave me more incentive to try to set up with the Mew on the Granbull. I just hoped he wasn't Roar, which I should have done throughout the game. I was playing a little passively with the Mew, But he did bring 2 Passamons in the Granville and the Bronzong, and the Granville didn't have Roar. He had Earthquake in the last slot. Again, I didn't know that, and I didn't want to like spoil the surprise of Mew. But if I did that on the Granville, I probably would have won the game. So, unfortunate there, but Vepsis really played a great game. Again, make sure you check out his videos, and hopefully I can win next week against JJ, John Jr. We've gone back a while. He's just such a great guy. So hopefully I can win that game. He's gotten a lot better as a battler. But until next time, later, guys.